June 4th, 1942. The first light of dawn spreads across the Central Pacific, and in this calm ocean, a storm is about to rise that will become the largest naval ambush the world has ever seen. One after another, aircraft lift off from the decks of Japanese carriers, engines roaring, and 272 trained aviators prepare to strike Midway Atoll. Zeros, Kates, and Vals, Japan's air power at its absolute peak. Their objective is simple: wipe the U.S. Pacific Fleet off the map, just as Pearl Harbor began. They are certain nothing will stand in their way. But this time, the picture is completely different. Cutting through the ocean like a blade, a dark gray giant races toward Midway. Its shape is strange: sharp angles, smooth panels, no antenna sticking out, no visible guns. Any sailor in 1942 who saw it would think it was either an experimental machine or a warship from another world. And honestly, both ideas are partly true. This is the USS Zumwalt, a 15,000-ton stealth destroyer built in 2016, almost like a magic trick of its time. It's a ship created using modern computers, futuristic materials, and radar systems that would melt the minds of 1940 scientists. The most dangerous part of this destroyer is its stealth design. A 600-foot giant, yet on radar it appears no bigger than a small fishing boat. If any 1942 radar operator tried to track it, he'd be confused how something like this was even moving across the sea. Inside the Zumwalt are 80 vertical launch cells loaded with guided missiles capable of erasing any fighter or bomber in seconds. Its SM-6 interceptors can shoot down aircraft from 150 miles away, far beyond what 1940s technology could even detect. Tomahawk cruise missiles can travel nearly 1,000 miles and hit targets with surgical precision. Its radar is so advanced, it can track more than 100 objects at once and even detect nuclear submarines. Yet this future warship isn't facing a weak opponent. On Japan's carrier decks are the most experienced naval aviators on Earth at the time. These Zero pilots had earned their reputation across the entire Asia-Pacific theater. Zeros were lightweight, extremely agile, and deadly in the hands of elite pilots. The carriers Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu, the crown jewels of Japan's strike force, formed the most powerful carrier group in the world. Behind them sailed an entire armada of battleships, cruisers, and destroyers. Even the mighty Yamato was somewhere in the formation, its 18-inch guns capable of blowing apart a two-story building. But despite all of this power, the Japanese fleet was chained to a single reality: the limitations of 1942. Visual spotting, primitive radar, and guns with limited range defined their combat ability. When the first Japanese wave lifts off toward Midway, their formation is tight and disciplined. They fully expect a textbook victory. But now, something is waiting for them that they cannot see: the USS Zumwalt. Nearly 100 miles away, the Zumwalt's radar catches the incoming planes with the clarity of a video game HUD. The computer analyzes the threat, sets priorities, and prepares firing solutions almost instantly. Then the first SM-6 launches, ripping through the sky at Mach 3.5 toward the Japanese formation. The pilots receive no warning, no radar alerts, no missile detection, no electronic countermeasures. Suddenly, aircraft on their left flank burst into pieces with a bright flash. The pilots try to understand what just happened, but nothing makes sense. No enemy aircraft in sight, no warship visible on the horizon. Their instruments show nothing unusual. Then a second missile hits, then a third. An entire section of the formation vanishes in seconds. The formation collapses. Some pilots dive, some climb, some try zigzag maneuvers, but every movement is perfectly tracked by the Zumwalt's radar. The system calculates each aircraft's speed, altitude, and direction and guides the missile to the exact interception point. All of this happens in milliseconds. For the Japanese pilots, this is a nightmare with no solution. The few who break away and reach Midway are scattered and panicked. They drop their bombs randomly before fleeing back toward their carriers. When Nagumo receives their reports, he is confused. He assumes the pilots are exaggerating, until dozens of aircraft fail to return. Then he realizes something unseen is out there. He launches the second wave, 170 more aircraft. But the Zumwalt has repositioned itself, still outside their detection range, but directly in their flight path. When the radar picks up the second wave, the crew treats it like another warm-up round. Missiles launch again. Japanese torpedo bombers, normally a threat to any U.S. ship, explode in mid-air. The agility of the Zeros is useless. They cannot dodge missiles they never even detect. Once the air threat is erased, the Zumwalt shifts into offensive mode. Tomahawk missiles streak across the sea in low, wave-skimming flight paths toward the Japanese carriers. These missiles fly just feet above the water, invisible to radar. Lookouts can only spot a tiny shape rushing toward them, but by then, it's far too late. Akagi is the first to be hit. A massive fireball engulfs the deck instantly. Fuel, ammunition, and aircraft erupt in a chain reaction. Kaga and Soryu suffer the same fate minutes later. A modern cruise missile strike is catastrophic for any 1940 warship. But alongside the Zumwalt's strengths are its limitations. It carries only 80 missiles. There is no GPS in 1942, no satellite link, no friendly fleet, and no repair facility. Any system failure could become life or death. And the most dangerous threat of all, the Japanese submarine I-168. Even one lucky torpedo could send the Zumwalt to the bottom. If the destroyer detects the submarine through sonar, its chances of survival are high. But a single moment of error could be fatal. If the submarine is neutralized, then the outcome of Midway becomes the most lopsided naval massacre in world history. All Japanese carriers sink, their top pilots die, their offensive power vanishes. America suffers almost no losses. And the USS Zumwalt becomes a legend, a ghost ship from 74 years in the future that